Throughout the dusty pages of history, Sparta has always been the very first name that comes to mind when you hear the word war. Tens of thousands of flawless hoplites, molded from childhood by the brutal agoge training system, completely erasing pain, fear, and retreat from their vocabulary. The most disciplined ancient war machine the world has ever seen. Standing against them, however, is the absolute peak of 21st century military evolution. The US military's most secret, deadly, and elite unit, the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, better known as Delta Force. On one side, tens of thousands of ancient warriors who do not fear death, armed with massive bronze shields, long spears, and crimson cloaks. On the other side, 12 modern ghosts hunting in the shadows with night vision goggles, suppressed rifles, and thermal cameras. Today, we are going to break down the collision of these two totally different worlds. What if 12 Delta Force operators were sent straight into the heart of the ancient world's most feared military power, Sparta, equipped with only the gear and limited ammo they could carry on their backs? Could these 12 men actually conquer a city made up of tens of thousands of soldiers? At first glance, the answer seems like a resounding no, because we are facing a very simple mathematical reality. The most basic rule of warfare is logistics. Let us assume each of the 12 Delta Force soldiers carries a standard combat loadout. If every soldier carries about 10 magazines, meaning roughly 300 rounds, this team has a total capacity of around 3,600 bullets. Facing them are 10,000 fully equipped Spartan soldiers, thousands of auxiliary troops, and a massive population. If these 12 commandos dropped into the middle of the city like a Hollywood movie and tried to shoot every Spartan in sight, they would run out of ammo in 10 minutes tops. The moment they run out of bullets, they would get crushed to death under thousands of men armed with spears and bronze armor. But Delta Force commandos are not Hollywood heroes. They are some of the smartest tactical minds in the real world. That is why they would never step into an open battlefield to conquer Sparta. To defeat an enemy, you do not attack where they are strongest, you hit them where they are weakest. And behind its legendary strength, Sparta has massive weaknesses handed over on a silver platter for a modern special operations team. The first of these weaknesses is Sparta's geographical and architectural arrogance. While almost every major city in the ancient world, like Athens, Babylon, or Troy, had massive, impenetrable walls, Sparta did not have a single stone wall around it. Spartans were so deeply in love with their own power that, as their legendary king Agesilaus put it, they believed the true walls of Sparta were the shields of their own soldiers. Besieging a city is a years-long nightmare for ancient armies. But a city with no walls is essentially a bank vault left wide open for a modern infiltration team. Delta Force operators do not need to dig tunnels, break down gates with battering rams, or build siege towers to get into Sparta. All they have to do is wait for the sun to go down. In the ancient world, nighttime meant the fight was over. In a pitch-black era where torches were the only light source, fighting at night was impossible. In modern military doctrine, however, the night is the ultimate weapon for special forces. The operation begins in the rugged Taygetus Mountains surrounding Sparta. Hiding high up in the mountains during the daytime, the 12 commandos observe the city using their advanced thermal scopes and satellite-independent mapping systems. They figure out the layout of the city, guard rotation hours, patrol routes, and most importantly, the exact buildings where the kings live. When the sun sets and ancient Greece is plunged into pitch-black darkness, Delta Force gets to work. The soldiers flip down their quad-nod panoramic night vision goggles. These goggles amplify even the faintest light from the stars and moon thousands of times, turning the night into a bright green day. While Spartan guards can only see a few feet around their torches and are blind to the pitch darkness beyond, the commandos can thermally detect the body heat of a mouse miles away. The 12 men descend from the mountain and silently infiltrate the streets of the wall-less city. Patrols that are supposed to spot them stand no chance of seeing these ghosts moving in pitch darkness with modern camouflage. Once inside the city, the most critical phase of the operation begins. In military terms, this is called leadership decapitation, taking out the command structure. Sparta was ruled by a unique oligarchy under a dual monarchy system. There were two kings from the Agiad and Eurypontid dynasties, plus a council of 5 elders called the Ephors, who made all military and state decisions. Delta Force is not targeting regular soldiers. They are going straight for these 7 key individuals. Using thermal cameras, the commandos locate the heat signatures inside the palaces and important structures, making their way toward the bedrooms of the kings. The state-of-the-art suppressors attached to their HK-416 assault rifles turn the deafening sonic boom of a bullet into a soft whisper. An ancient human could never even fathom a deadly attack arriving without the clashing of swords or war cries. Sleeping kings and council members are neutralized in their beds by armor-piercing modern rounds before they even realize what is happening. In just a matter of hours, the brain of history's greatest war machine is completely wiped out. Sparta is now nothing more than a headless body. However, killing the leaders is not enough to conquer a city. The only way to beat tens of thousands of trained soldiers without a massive fight is to completely shatter their minds. The ancient worldview was built entirely on gods, myths, and supernatural forces. Lightning in the sky was the wrath of Zeus, and a storm at sea was Poseidon throwing a tantrum. The Delta Force commandos move into action to weaponize this psychological reality. Right after assassinating the kings, the team quietly places C4 plastic explosives at critical spots around the city, like weapon depots, the foundations of major temples, and around the elite soldiers' barracks. As dawn approaches and the first rays of light show on the horizon, absolute hell breaks loose for Sparta. The commandos detonate the explosives simultaneously using remote triggers. The sound of C4 detonating sounds like nothing in the ancient world, not even the loudest thunderclap. A deafening, earth-shattering shockwave tears through the air and shakes all of Sparta. Stone structures crumble into dust in seconds as massive fireballs skyrocket into the air. As Spartan soldiers leap out of bed without understanding what is going on, commandos begin throwing flashbangs into barracks courtyards and up into the sky from the alleyways. A blinding 7 million candle power light paired with an ear-splitting 170 decibel blast strikes repeatedly. Blinded, bleeding from the ears, and losing all balance, the Spartans can only come to one conclusion. The gods of Olympus have cursed Sparta and descended to Earth to punish them. Those proud warriors who believed they were invincible fall into absolute terror for the first time in their history, thinking they are facing divine wrath rather than a physical enemy. There is no enemy army standing in front of them to raise their shields or thrust their spears at. There is only a deadly roar raining down from the sky, flames, and invisible destruction. Right at this moment of total psychological breakdown, the final and deadliest phase of the operation kicks in. Sparta actually carried a ticking time bomb within itself all along. That bomb was the slave class known as the helots. For every free Spartan citizen living in the city, there were 7 to 8 brutally oppressed helots. These slaves, who carried the entire burden of agriculture and labor for Spartan society, were murdered at the slightest sign of rebellion and kept under a constant regime of terror. The biggest fear the Spartans faced in life was not an invading foreign army. It was an uprising from their own slaves. Delta Force lights the fuse on this demographic time bomb. As rumors of the dead kings spread like wildfire and the city's temples and barracks burn from divine explosions, the commandos blow open the doors to the armories and leave them for the helots. Tens of thousands of oppressed, starving slaves who have hated their masters for years finally get the spark they were waiting for when they see their masters punished by the gods and their kings dead. Within seconds, the city descends into the bloodiest civil war in history. Left leaderless, deafened by explosions, and psychologically broken, the Spartan hoplites are forced to face the rage of armed slaves outnumbering them 8-1. From this point on, the Delta Force commandos do not need to fire a single bullet. From a high vantage point, watching through the green glow of their night vision goggles, they simply watch the chaos they created swallow Sparta whole. The city falls victim to its own internal hatred and the flawless planning of modern military engineering. No traditional battle took place. No shields clashed against shields. 12 commandos hacked the enemy system, turned their beliefs into a weapon, and turned their own slaves against their military. By the time the sun fully rises, Sparta, the city known throughout history as invincible, is nothing more than a smoldering pile of ruins. 12 Delta Force soldiers, using their intelligence, gear, and unmatched training, successfully wiped Sparta from history without shedding a single drop of their own blood, and without even needing to use most of their ammunition. If you want to check out other topics like this that we all think about from time to time, make sure to click the playlist on your screen because I know you are going to love it. I read all your comments, so please leave your thoughts below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video.